All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. I'm going to call this lesson, Israelite heroes are Edomite villains, right? And show that anytime that there's been anybody that's the Israelite, that's for their own people, right? The Israelites, that person has always ended up being an enemy to the Edomites, man. And I've got some notes if I can find some of them, but if I can't find what I wrote down, then I'll just go with the scriptures according to what Yahweh gives me anyway. All right, 1 second. Let me see if I can find the if I can find what I wrote down, man. It's a lock here. I already know where I'm gonna go to start the lesson anyway. Genesis 25. So while I find this, and I might just go there. If I can't find it, if I can't find what I wrote down. Okay, so I found the notes. But I'm gonna go to this first anyway. Genesis chapter 25 and verse 25. This is Genesis chapter 25 and verse 25. And the first came out, in fact, verse 22. Genesis chapter 25 and verse 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire. And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So the children was fighting together within the womb of Rebekah, showing that they were enemies before they'd even actually been born, man. They was alive at that time, but they were enemies before they'd even been given birth to, right? Before they'd actually even came out of their mother's womb, man. Verse 22, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So that right there lets you know that anyone that's a hero of one nation is an enemy of the other nation, a villain, right? So anyone that you can find from Esau, or that's an Edomite, that helped the Edomites, is an enemy of the Israelites because they're directly against us. So for example, Haman was a hero of the Edomites, right? But he was an enemy to the Israelites when you read about it in the book of Esther, right? Whereas Joab and King David, they were heroes to a certain degree, especially Joab was only a hero to a certain degree for certain times, right? But King David was definitely a hero among the Israelites, but he was a villain in the eyes of Esau, right? Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, right? So the Edomites and the Israelites are not the same people, man. They're two different nations, but the point of this lesson is going to be to show that Edomite heroes are Israelite villains, and Israelite heroes are Edomite villains. Now, let's see what it says in the scriptures. Let me look for where it is that I wrote down in the scriptures, man, about what the Egyptians were saying about Moses, right? This is Exodus chapter 10 and verse 7. And Pharaoh's servant said unto him, how long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go, that they may serve Yahweh their God, their power. Knowest thou not yet that Egypt is destroyed? So Pharaoh's servants were saying to him, just let the Moses go, man, let him get the hell away from us, because he is a snare unto us, man. He's an enemy of us. That he was getting on their nerves, right? They didn't like that he was there and causing for their society to crumble, man, right? Because in our eyes as Israelites, he's our hero. He's one of our heroes, man. But in the eyes of another nation, he was a villain, right? They didn't like Moses, right? They liked him when he was building up their thing, but as soon as he had some kind of a kind of nationalism to where he cared about his own people, they didn't care about him no more. They didn't like him, right? Now, let me go to this, Luke chapter 4. Here's another scripture I wrote down. Luke chapter 4 and verse 18. Because Yahweh Shai is also going to be seen as a villain to these heathens when they see him, man. And that's why they're going to fight against him. You can read about that in the 13th chapter, You can read about it in the book of Revelation as well, right? Revelation, the 19th chapter. This is Luke chapter 4 and verse 18. The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he have anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He have sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives. Now, if someone's your captive, you're benefiting off them. So anybody that's trying to save your captives is your enemy, right? Anyone that's trying to free your slaves, if you had slaves, is your enemy, because they're trying to take your profits away, right? They're trying to take away your finances that you making money from. And recovery of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. So Yahweh Shai is also an enemy to the Edomites, but he's one of our heroes, right? He's our main hero, man. He's our Messiah. Even greater than just calling him a hero. He's our Messiah, man. He's our salvation, but he's an enemy to the Edomites, right? He's a villain in their eyes. They don't like him. And that's why when you look at the land of Israel, when they hear the name Yahweh Shai, even when they hear the fake name that the world gave him, they don't like it. They'll spit in a woman's face off that, right? They'll kick a little mouse rat will kick a big grown woman. When they hear about the Lord, they don't want to hear about that, because he's their enemy. He's a villain in their eyes, right? Just like how those J-Wish people see Hitler as a villain, right? But to other people that he was rocking with, he's their hero, right? Just like how Christopher Columbus is one of our villains, but to his people, he's a hero, right? An Edomite helping his own people is a hero to them, but he's an enemy to everyone else. And that's what you people don't understand, that you think you know and understand the Bible, and you think you understand that in this world, right, there's a battle taking place, a battle of the nations, man. And it's been prophesied that the Israelites are going to win the battle of the nations. Matthew chapter 2 and verse 1. Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. So Herod didn't like that he heard that Yahushua was born. He had a problem with that. And even certain Israelites that were wicked had a problem. They didn't like it, right? They was troubled by that. Verse 4, and when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he demanded of them where Hamashiach should be born. Now, if he was a real Israelite and he understood the prophecy, he would have knew. He would have understood. He would have known the answer to that, right? He would have known, but he was an Edomite, man. Verse 5, and they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet. Now that's in Micah chapter 5 and verse 2. Verse 6, Matthew chapter 5 and verse 6. And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least of the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him. Right? But he was trying to kill him. Verse 16, jump down to verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, because he wanted to try and he was like, one of these kids is surely going to be Yahushua. So if I kill all of these children, one of them is going to be Yahushua surely, because Yahushua was a villain to him, whereas he was a hero to the Israelites. Verse 16 again. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he diligently inquired of the wise men. So he was their enemy. Right, now let's show another scripture in the book of Revelation, because people might say, oh, that was then. But then something happened and that changed thing. No, it's still now, man. It's still now. Yahweh Shai is this world's enemy. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 15, right? And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens, and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. That's Yahweh, right? And from the wrath of the Lamb. Who's the Lamb? Yahweh Shai. Now, if they was doing the right thing and he wasn't a villain in their eyes, wouldn't they be wanting to be seen by him instead of wanting to hide on the ground, right? Verse 17, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Because they know that he's got anger aimed at them. They know what they've been doing. They know that they haven't been doing the right things according to what God said. They know that they can't. They know that the Israelites are their enemy. Let me prove that. Right? The Edomites have always been the Israelites' enemy, man. They've never stopped their hatred, man. They hate our guts. Don't be fooled if they're nice to you at work. Don't be fooled if they're nice to you when you're walking on the street and they stop their car at the zebra crossing instead of speeding off. Don't be fooled if they get out of your way in the corner shop, right? Don't be fooled even if an Edomite woman wants to give you some, right? Don't be fooled in any way. They're your enemy. They're our enemy, right? Let's not be fooled by any of that. Don't be fooled if they give you a good customer service when you come into a restaurant. They're still your enemy. They still hate your guts. They're just at peace because they've got a bit more money. So they were like, well, I can be polite in this situation because I'm rich. I'm winning. But as soon as them riches that they have start draining down, you're going to see that the rust has altogether not been wiped away and their wickedness is still ever present, man. Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. These Edomites have never stopped hating the Israelites, man. Any Israelite hero has always been seen as a villain to the Edomites, man. And any Edomite hero is a villain to us, right? Because that's not our people, man. That's our main evil person against us, man. Right? The Edomites are our main enemy. And whether you believe that or not, they don't really matter. Because eventually everyone's going to live to see it happen. They're going to live to be they're going to be reminded again. Here I'll go to this Psalms 83 and verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. So these people that is mentioning here are our enemies. The enemies of Israelites. And they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, because they hate the Israelites so much that they don't even want to hear about Israelites anymore. And that's why those people in the land of Israel that call themselves by the name of the chosen don't call themselves Israelites. They add extra letters after that. Why don't they call themselves Israelites? Why don't they call themselves Israel? They've made something up. They've made their own term. That's not of the Bible. Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom. Right? So Edomite heroes are Israelite villains, and Israelite heroes are Edomite villains. Now it goes on to say more people. And the Ishmaelites, because they're the enemies of the Israelites too. Of Moab and the Hagarenes, which are Hagarenes are also Ishmaelites, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, another Edomite, the Philistines, Hamites, and the inhabitants of Tyre, which I believe again is also Hamites, man. Asher is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. They're enemies. These people are enemies. Israelite heroes are Edomite villains, man. Right? And people that don't want to accept that, they're not being real according to what the Bible says, man. Let me get this. 1 Kings chapter 11 and verse 11. Wherefore the Lord Yahweh said unto Solomon, for so much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes which I commanded thee, I will surely rend the covenant from thee, and I will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding in thy days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Howbeit I will not rend away all the kingdom, but I will give one tribe to thy son for David my servant's sake, and Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. And Yahweh stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom, for it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab the captain of the host was gone up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom. So when Hadad would have seen this happening, would have seen King David and Joab killing those Edomites, would he have said that King David was a good man at that time? Or would he have looked at King David as a villain? Would he have hated King David? Yes, he would have. But do Israelites hate King David? No, they don't. Because Israelite heroes are Edomite villains, and Edomite heroes are Edomite villains, man. Right? I'll say that again. Israelite heroes are Edomite villains, and Edomite heroes are Israelite villains. And that's how you can prove that salvation is not for everybody, right? Because Yahweh Shai is the ultimate hero of the Israelites. And in doing that, he's going to be freeing the Israelites that are oppressed right now from under the hand of those that slay them, and take away all their profits and their ability to be able to rule over people and have a whole nation of people go to them for the want of all things and be able to make money off them, man. If there's a whole nation in the world that doesn't own any industries at all and have to go to everybody else for those things that they want, the world's benefiting greatly by one nation being void of understanding and void of their own homeland and void of their own way. Verse 16. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom. That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. So when this would have happened to this Edomite, and he would have seen Joab there, right, killing all of these Edomites to the point where he had to run, you think he would have loved Joab? Or would he have looked at Joab as though Joab is a demon? Would that Edomite Hadad have hated Joab and have hated King David? Yes. He wouldn't have viewed them as though, oh, they're righteous people. He would have said, I hate them. He would have hated King David. He would have hated King Solomon because that was his son. He would have hated Joab. He would have hated everything to do with Israel, man. And he would have been waiting for the day to come where he can get revenge, which is exactly what I'm reading about right now. Yahweh stirred him up and put the spirit on him to remember what had happened in the past when he was a child and want revenge because King Solomon sinned. But when he was coming at the Israelites for revenge, he would have been seen by his people as a hero because he was getting revenge for what the Edomites would have considered as an injustice against their people. Just like how Yahweh Shai is coming back to redeem injustices that we consider as injustice to us for our people, which is also his people because he is an Israelite too. Now, whether you people want to believe that we're the Israelites or not, don't really matter. But you can't deny that Yahweh Shai is an Israelite. You can't deny that. So therefore, he'd want he'd want to benefit his people first. He'd want to give great things unto his own people before anybody else. But you people don't know nothing about the Bible though. Acts chapter 1 and verse 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? The disciples wasn't hoping for nothing for nobody else. They wanted something for the Israelites. They didn't care about nobody else because they knew that Yahweh Shai is a hero to his own people, not to everyone. Now let me get this. Because you people out there, man, that think that you know the Bible, like you don't know. Like you really don't know what you're talking about. All the stuff that you're talking about in there about God loving everybody, you learn very early that ain't true. You only have to read about 10 chapters in the Bible. In fact, let me say 11. You have to read 11 chapters in the Bible and you find out real quick that God does not love everybody. When every human in the world tried to join together and speak one language, Yahweh was not with that and caused for people to start speaking all different types of language, man. He changed up the whole way that people talk and communicate because he wasn't with that. When he could have just saved everyone on the earth or made everyone be under the new covenant, during the time of Noah. He didn't do that. He flooded the earth. He could have at that point programmed everybody to be righteous. He didn't do that. He didn't have to make multitudes of nations. He could have just made one human race, as you people want to claim, and made them all be of the same nation. But he didn't do that, did he? He chose a special people from among everyone on the earth and gave them the things that allow you to rule the world, which is the laws. And that's why they're the only ones that are going to get the new covenant. Isaiah chapter 63 and verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, travelling in the greatness of his strength? I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? Right? Why your garments got red on them? You've got red on you, right? You've got red on your clothes. Why? Why you got so much red on you? For I have trodden the wine, verse 3, for I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment, for the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. So he's going to be coming back to do vengeance on certain people, plus to redeem certain people, man. He's the redeemer of certain people. Isaiah to the 59 and verse 20 and verse 19, in fact. So they shall fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion. Who's that Redeemer going to be? Yahweh Shai. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahweh. He's not coming for everyone. Yahweh Shai is going to be seen as a villain to the people that are living in this world at that time. They're not going to like him, right? They're not gonna be happy when he shows up. They like the Edomites right now, like how the world is right now. They want to see what Elon Musk's gonna do and all of that. They want to see if Zuckerberg and him are gonna have an MMA match. They want to see all that. They want to see Jon Snow be king and rule before they'd want to see us do anything. You know what I mean? They want to know what the Targaryens are saying and all that. They want to know them fate worlds. They don't want us to do nothing. They don't care about us in any way, shape, or form, man. They hate our guts. Because what we're talking about that we want for our people is directly against what they want for their people, man. They don't like us, right? Verse 21, as for me, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahweh, my spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, saith Yahweh, from henceforth and forever. Because the day is going to come where we are built up so great that we can't fall ever again. And that's going to be when we're under the new covenant, man, which gets said a lot, but it's the truth. And the new covenant is not for everybody, right? But I just thought I'd do this quick video, and there was a few more scriptures that I could have read as well, right? But in fact, I'll get this one as well, you know. I'll get this because this is one of the blessings. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 7. Yahweh shall cause thine enemies to rise up against thee, to be smitten before thy face. So when the Israelites are in a blessed state, it says that it's saying in the blessings, in the blessed state of the Israelite. Let me read it again. Let me read verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1 first. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments which I commanded this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations, above all nations of the earth. So that's not a good thing for everybody, for us to be above everyone, if we're keeping the laws. So anybody that would be allowing that to happen would be an enemy of the world. And that's what Yahweh Shai is coming to do, who is the mediator of the new covenant. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 7, and Yahweh shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. So in the blessed state of the Israelites, if our enemies rise up against us, we're going to have the power to just break them down. That's part of the blessed state, man. that our enemies are going to rise up against us and we're going to be able to just turn them over, man. Just tear through them. Just start parrying their jab, switch it up, circle round, get to the side of them, you know. Nunchuck making, man, they're not gonna like it, this state of things. Right now, it's all right, they can laugh and joke, try and play mind games and all the things that they do. But in this time, we're gonna be in a blessed state for if they rise up against us. It's gonna be a blessing for our enemies to rise up against us, just so that we can defeat them. I'll read it again in case people think it's not true. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 7. Yahweh shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. That's when you know that people are getting their ass whooped. When they come at people strong and heavy, right? Like, yo, let's get him, let's rush him. And then they scatter like cockroaches after the heat starts turning up on them. Yahweh Shai is not going to be seen as a ally to this world, man. And let me prove it, man. Let me prove it. I'm gonna get a prophecy right now. This is 2 Ezra chapter 13. 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 29. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh. Behold, the days come when the Most High. I'll start again, Salakia. 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. Now, why is it going to be an astonishment? Because they ain't hoping for this. Because he's their enemy. He's only a blessing to the Israelites, right? And read Luke 1 and 68 to verse 77 if you don't believe that. Verse 31, 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, one realm against another, because we have to remember this. Even though Jacob and Esau have got their own thing going on where they have got extreme anger towards each other and hatred against each other that Yahweh's put within them, all these other nations have got their own problems. Like the Moabites and the Ishmaelites, they don't even really get along. Elam and Ishmael, they don't even really get along. Elam and Ham, they don't even get along. Ham and Ishmael, they don't even get along. Moab and Ishmael, they don't get along. Moab and Ham, they don't get along. Japhet and Moab, they don't even get along, right? All these other nations have got different things and different battles that they have against each other that we don't even know the depths of some of those things, man. Ishmael and Esau, they definitely don't get along, and we can see the evidence of that right now in the land of Israel. That's not Jacob versus Esau. That's that's Esau. That's Esau versus Ishmael over there right now. That's what we're seeing over there. Even more right now with the events that have happened now, recently, over the last like 2-3 days. That's not Jacob. That's Esau and versus Ishmael over there, man. And that's why these things are going to be taking place in prophecy. Let me read verse 31 again. 2 chapter 13 and verse 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, one realm against another. So world wars are going to be happening, civil war, all different types, man. Class wars, all types of stuff, man. Individual one-on-one battles are going to be happening. Verse 32. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen which I showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all people shall hear his voice, everyone shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. Right? And then the innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and overcome him by fighting. And that's how we know that the Israelites are the biggest threat to this world, man, because when the greatest person from among our nation stands up to save his own people, right? And the greatest of our nation is so great that they have to be up in the heavens, man. They ain't even down here on the earth, because if they was down here on the earth, none of these people would try us. So Yahweh's had to hide the greatest one of us in the heavens, man. Whereas the greatest one of all these other nations, you can just look them up on Google. You can look them up on Google if you know their name. You can just search them, tap, 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 search. You find a picture of them, and they don't look as great as the world makes out. A lot of them will be frail. But the greatest one from our nation, you can't find where he's at. You can't find him. It wouldn't be possible to find their house on earth. It wouldn't be possible for you to put their address in a search engine and go to where they live, or type it in on Google Earth and try and see where it's not possible for that. You can't find out their net worth and none of that. You can only get what you're told in the book, and then you have to use your imagination to know the rest. And that's the difference between Israelites and everybody else, man. That when the greatest Israelite comes to the earth, all these other nations are going to forget that they don't like each other, and remember that their main enemy is the Israelites, because like I said before at the beginning, Israelite heroes are Edomite villains. But I will go one further. Israelite heroes are heathen villains, right? They don't like the people that are down for us. They hate them, right? And I think I've made my point, man. I think I made the point right there in the lesson. I'm going to end it there. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.